Russian drinks. Between me and the drink stands this 10 minutes. I'm going to make 10 points and tell you 2 small stories and ask you some questions. You've come here with some aspirations. I'm advisor of Steel Users Federation of India, which means I am representing people who use steel in India. You produce metal recycling business. Steel industries produce steel, and there is a 1.3 billion population that uses steel. This seminar, this conference has come at a very opportune moment. Make no mistakes. This has a reason. Which is the biggest steel maker in the world? Anybody? Any hands? The largest steel maker in the world is an Indian. He has an Indian passport. That's not a coincidence. My name is Dr. Shubh Gautam. I'm based out of San Francisco, California, and we are the only manufacturer of electro-galvanized steel in India. What is 1.3 billion population to you? As someone said very early in the day, there is a very strong middle class, 300 million in India, and that is equal to the population of Russia. But make no mistakes, those 300 million and this 300 million are different. The 300 million population in Russia has an annual GDP income of $15,000. This 1.2 billion population has an annual GDP income of less than $2,000. So when you come to India, here are 2 stories. Do not make the following mistakes if you want to be successful. Which is the best motorcycle making company in the world, brand-wise? Any hands? Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson came to India in 2003 and said, we will run the Indian market the way we do the global market. So what they did was, they opened 4 showrooms in big cities in India, in Pune, and Bangalore, and Delhi, and Mumbai, and said, we will sell the most expensive and the best bikes in India. And they failed. You know why? The 300 million middle class and the balance, how they work is, if I stay in Delhi, I have a car, my wife has a car, chances are my dad has a car, so I need the cheapest motorcycle to go to the grocery store or to drop my kid to school. So you sell the cheapest motorcycles in the urban cities, and in the villages, where you want to go and probably show off to your friends, you want to go and pick up your wife from her parents' house, you buy the most expensive bike. So Hero Motors and Bajaj, the real bike makers in India, they were selling the best bikes in rural India, whereas Harley Davidson wanted to sell the best bikes in urban India. They failed. This talk of 10 minutes is for you to understand India, so that when you come, you are very successful. Second last question, who invented motor vehicles? Who invented 4-wheelers? Ford Motors invented motor vehicles. And Ford Motors came to India in 1996. Hyundai Korea came to India in 2003. Today, Ford has 1% Indian market share. Hyundai has 30% Indian market share. Ever wonder why? Because Hyundai came and understood what Indian population was and what they wanted. So Hyundai gave them good quality equipment at an affordable price. And in 2006, Ford said, well, let's give India a cheap car because we're not successful. Everybody's successful, they're giving a cheap car. Ford put 4 of the best engineers in Detroit, Michigan and said, design a cheap car for India. What did those engineers do? They ripped off a car and they said, let's take off cost, which means, why do we need power windows on both front and back doors? So let's take off power windows from the back door. Then they said, why do we need a lot of cushion on the back seat? Let's take the cushion off the back seat. Let's make a cheap car. It's not a story, it's a real story. And they made a cheap car. It was called Ford Fusion. It was launched in India. Excellent car, excellent mileage. Sales went up and sales came down. Why? Because anybody in India who buys a $15,000 car has a driver, a chauffeur. So who got the power windows? Who got the good seats? It's a real story. That's why Ford Motors has 1% market share. In March of 2022, the average scrap price imported into India was $670 a ton. This was $120 arbitrage over average scrap imported into Asia. The Ministry of Steel has said that Indian steel making will go from 100 million tons to 300 million tons by 2030. Now, if you want to scale from 100 million tons to 300 million tons in a span of 6 years, you cannot do a blast furnace. You have to do induction arc furnace or electric arc furnace. Scrap is at the bottom of the steel pyramid, so it has a lot of scope as far as India is concerned. India is also, like it or not, the third largest consumptive economy on this planet. And I was pretty surprised to know that steel imported into Russia from India carries an import duty of 5% versus Chinese steel, which has an import duty of 20%. The global average steel consumption is 600 kgs per person. In India, it is only 130 kgs. There is a huge progress in steel that is going to take place in India, and this could not have been a better opportunity for all of us to work together, exchange our strengths, join hands in curbing the weaknesses, and seeing a final future, but get to know India. 2 stories. From a steel user's perspective, that's my 10 minutes. Have a great evening ahead, and wish you all the best of luck for starting your new relationships in India. Thank you.